It's so easy to feel invisible at university. At school, you're in a strict system. You have a form tutor who makes sure you turn up, and subject teachers keep track of your work. Then you go to uni, and suddenly there's none of that at all. If you don't show up to a lecture, the lecturer doesn't care, and they wouldn't even realise anyway. The university doesn't care if your work starts to slip. That's not their issue or responsibility. It's just down to you. It's so easy to feel irrelevant and anonymous in a huge system, but that's just maybe how it will be from now forever. Maybe in the big bad adult world, no one cares.
I think if you were to ask a lot of university students, they would say this is the thing that shocked them the most about how they thought uni was going to be compared to school and how it actually is. But this is actually one topic I really have to give Oxford credit for, and it's probably the thing I would most recommend people going to Oxbridge for. The work is one thing, great degrees, very prestigious, whatever, but I think Oxbridge really make you feel that you're a student that they care about. I guess at this point, please do excuse me, I just came back from something with black tie, filmed this straight away, but obviously changed my trousers so I have tracksuits on. But anyway, let's talk about the whole thing. I think when people come from school, especially if they've been there for a long time, maybe from year 7 all the way through to year 13, that's what, 7 years, something like that, you feel very relevant, very part of the community. At that point, maybe all the teachers know who you are, you probably know a large part of your year group, or even if you don't know them, you kind of know who they are, know how the system works, know your way around the place, feel that you really belong. And then when you come into uni, it's not just a case of having to take some time to adapt, and then you feel like that eventually as well. Because everyone's basically adults, it just feels like you're living your adult life and happening to be doing a degree at some point. And because you're an adult, no one's really checking up on you in that way. I think people can often feel that if they don't turn up to certain lectures or parts of the course or don't submit work, there's no one at a normal university that will really know or care or know them as an individual as opposed to a number that will check up on you and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people find that very hard because you come from school where you kind of feel very supported. Maybe you had help applying for university. You know, you probably had someone who wrote a reference for you that you knew quite well. You have this idea of form tutors and stuff like that. But then you come to uni and suddenly you're kind of by yourself, living in a house, doing your work, doing your own washing and cleaning and cooking, whatever it is. And I remember that's something I found very weird in Freshers Week. I was kind of thinking, where are the adults? Where are the teachers coming to check up on us? Not even in a sense of sort of like, you know, making sure we go into bed on time, but it would just be weird that kind of the whole university system was happening without anyone ever coming to check or making sure things were, going to plan. And I think that can be very isolating for a lot of people because, yeah, they're just not used to it. And suddenly they feel that if they don't turn up somewhere, and it can be in a social way or just in a work sense, no one really cares. You're just here for yourself at university. And of course, your lecturers and whatever, I guess, want you to do well, but they don't care about you as an individual at any point. And this is probably something people have never had before. Like I say, in secondary schools and stuff like that, it's very different, at least in the sense of if you don't do stuff, you feel heard and seen. So if you don't do your work, most of the time, the teacher will say to you, why haven't you done your work? Maybe shout at you, or maybe kind of check if everything's okay. But you feel that every action you do has a repercussion, good or bad. Whereas now you come here and kind of, you can get away with not doing as much. If you don't do your work or you're struggling in class, the teachers or lecturers or tutors, whatever it is, they're not going to shout at you. It's not like that. They kind of just let you do your thing and think you should be responsible for it, and they just have the job of teaching it, and whatever you absorb or practice at home and learn and everything like that, that's up to you. We're very lucky, I guess, in the UK to have a lot of really passionate teachers at schools everywhere that also really care about you and want you to do the best. And it's just the difference in job. The job of a tutor or a lecturer and stuff like that doesn't have that same element. It's not necessarily that they're colder or anything like that, but just, it's different. They are there to teach the material, and it's not their responsibility of what you do with that. That's your responsibility, and you've got to do your thing. And I think that is very jarring for a lot of people, because it can be very demotivating, especially if you also live at home with your parents, whoever, and you kind of feel like you're part of this family bond. You just feel like people care for you, watch out for you, do stuff. And now suddenly you come to uni, and you're just fighting for yourself. So, there we go. I think that hopefully is a fair representation of how I feel to some extent, but I know loads of people at whichever uni it is, some more than others, feel. But the reason I want to talk about this week is because there have been a few things that have made me realise how amazing Oxford does this. And like I said at the start, this is really the thing that makes Oxford superb. Let me give you some examples of what's happened recently. I posted my loneliness video, and I also posted another video recently about wanting to come home from university. And even though actually in the videos themselves, if you were to watch them, I hope you would agree, it's quite fair, quite sensible. Obviously the thumbnail and title makes it look like I'm having a really distressed period. I was very grateful for friends to text me as well, but recently I also got an email from the junior dean, who's kind of, I guess, the guy who is in charge of, I think, discipline, but also kind of our pastoral well-being. And in a lot of these places, I reckon that's just kind of a nominal title, and probably the people don't know you individually and don't really care. But in Oxford, in each college, you'll have one, or maybe even a few, and I was really impressed and very happy, just kind of for the system, that this person wrote me an email. I didn't know who he was, and he wrote that in the email saying, "You've probably never come across me, but this is who I am, this is what I do, just wanted to make sure you're okay." And again, I didn't publish that through any university kind of way, but maybe someone showed it to him, maybe it was one of my tutors, maybe it was someone else, maybe he came across the video. It has got quite far in Oxford. But that was really cool, because I was fine and I wrote to him saying that. But these people tend to take an interest, number one, be aware of it, and number two, then follow up on it if they find out about these things, which I think is brilliant. So anyway, that was the catalyst for me making this right now, and you would hope that is the bare minimum, but I'm not sure what other places do, and I thought it was really nice that this junior dean emailed me. And again, we have counselling and well-being and all this kind of stuff that I'm sure every uni does, and maybe they do it well, maybe they kind of just have it because they have to have it. But this was just another example for me in a long list of things that I think Oxford does so superbly in making you feel like you really matter to them as much as possible in a uni. Ever since we applied, and you have to go through such a rigorous process, I hoped this would be the case. Because you have to go through tests that are marked by your eventual tutors, you have to go through interviews where you're interviewed by your potential tutors. I really built up this picture that these people are really handpicking you. And so the tutors, who will then, again, have all these contact hours with you in these tutorial sessions, would really want to see you because they've chosen you themselves. The people you see in the interview, unless, they change because they retire, whatever it is, are the people that you'll be seeing day to day, more or less, week to week, term to term, in your college. And that's amazing, because I think in a lot of these places, they just kind of want bums on seats. And I'm sure that's true to Oxford as well. But because Oxford has so many applicants and can be so picky, it does feel that once they have picked you, they really care about you as an individual. You hear of these places, and I'm not sure if it's true or not, but you hear rumours of, there are algorithms that just check your A-level grades, and if you hit it for that course, they just accept you. No real person reads your personal statement, your reference, any of that kind of stuff. It's just as simple as, the course is AAA, you apply with AA A-star, you get an offer, 5 minutes after you've submitted your UCAS form. I'm not sure how true or false these are, but definitely not the case with Oxford. And so, when you go in to meet your tutors for the first time, it's amazing. They know who you are, they remember your name, and to be honest, our tutors said to us they don't remember anything about the interviews, just to make us feel better in case we said anything wrong, stuff like that. But as it becomes apparent, we talk to them more. They remember stuff you say to them, because they broadly only have to worry with 6 of you in that year, and a few in the other years as well. So when you tell them stuff, they remember it from time to time. And that could be, they briefly ask you about which options you're thinking of taking, and then suddenly, the next time they have to ask for your official options, they say, "I remember you were talking about doing these, do you still stick with that?" And it's just the tiny touches like that that really make you feel relevant and welcome and as if people care about you. Also, the way my options worked, I had some sort of clash or something had to swap, and my tutor wrote to me, without even telling me really it was a clash, and just said, "Dear Sam, I've sorted this out for you, this is what's going to be different for you," and I didn't have to get involved at all. And I don't know how it can be at other places, but maybe it's just really tedious, or there's just a very bureaucratic process of having to speak to different people to work it out. But it's actually so chill here. Your people just work it out for you. That's brilliant. At one point, I emailed my director of studies because I wanted to have a meeting with her. And I can't remember exactly how quick it was. I'll put it now, the timestamps. This was, I think, really late at night. And within something stupid, 10, 20 minutes, at whatever time of night you can see right now, I had a meeting organised for the next day. That's so cool. I was speaking, actually, to one of the third year classicists about something I was feeling academically that I wanted to get sorted. And he was just like, write to your director of studies. And I was like, oh, but it's really late. Maybe we'll just find her tomorrow, whatever it is. He was like, no, right, honestly. And then, by the time he's still next to me, I've got this whole planned meeting sorted tomorrow. It's amazing. They also remember what's on your timetable. We have to have a meeting at the end of term, just to kind of check our termly progress, which again is so cool. And I happen to have 10 o'clocks every day for Latin, which I'm the only person out of the 6 of us to do, and the timings go from 9:30 till later, and lo and behold, without having to ask or having to say, "Oh, sorry, I've got my 10 o'clock, I had the one before 10 o'clock. And that is definitely not a coincidence. These people really know what's going on with you. You just have to be so grateful, because when you feel socially or anything else that there's this whole big bad world, people don't really care, yeah, you've got your kind of team there for you. So cool. I think I'm saying the same words again and again. Cool, stuff like that. But it's class. And don't get me wrong, it's kind of the same as any other uni, that if I don't really do the homework for Latin class, My teacher isn't really going to be angry with me. If I'm falling behind, he won't even necessarily come up to me and say, come on Sam, let's pick it up. It's my responsibility. But any single time you ask them a question, they are insanely useful. I've talked about this before in my hour-long review of first term, but once I just asked a random question in my Greek class, and the guy, to be honest, didn't give me a great answer. I thought nothing of it, and I just said, yeah, okay, perfect, thank you so much, politely. This was our first session, and he wrote to me half an hour after the class finished saying, I've researched your question, this is where it is in this textbook, this is where it is in another textbook. And I was thinking this guy probably doesn't even remember my name, never mind the specific question I asked. And I imagine he's probably done that to a few people in that session alone, and then probably every other session. Honestly, it's crazy. When they mark your essays, because they mark it online, you can see how long they're spending on it, because you can see the comment, first timestamp, and then the last one. These guys spend like 45 minutes marking your essay, which is amazing in itself. But again, it's not just mistakes you've made, because it's a humanities subject, there's no kind of right or wrong. Sometimes they'll write comments on their own tangents about, yeah, that's a really good point, have you considered this? Sometimes they'll link other articles. I've heard, some subjects, the tutor marking comments are longer than the actual essay itself. It's crazy. I guess it's a really nice system of everyone really cares about their subject. Hopefully you do, because you've got into Oxford for it. The tutors certainly do. So it's a nice environment of they really want to spend time on your essay as long as you put in the effort. But in general, yeah, great. Just a few things outside of the academic bubble as well. We do stuff as a department. So with our tutors and the classicists in second year, third year, fourth year, it's actually a 4-year course. The tutors, all the students, organise certain things, and whoever wants to come can come. So for example, on Monday, a few days after I'm filming this, we're having a play reading in the dining hall with some alcohol and some other stuff, which probably sounds really boring to you, but for classicists, to read Euripides' Bacchae with a bunch of second, third, fourth years and your tutors who are tutoring you, it's just a really casual atmosphere to feel like they care about you. Similarly, a few weeks ago, we went out to a restaurant which was organised kind of as a classics dinner for Trinity, and it's a random seating arrangement, and you speak to the postgrad classicist student. I was in front of me, the director of studies, to the left of me was a fourth year, whatever it is. It's nice, it's really, really nice. That you cannot get in other places, where it's just a massive cohort, not broken down into any small bits of your college, and then, you can kind of see the progression through the years of your college. And that means when I'm sitting in the library, and some random fourth year walks through who does classics, they nod at me. And then 20 minutes later, a third year comes, and I know him from the dinner, and he sits down and says, how are you doing, Sam? And I say, I'm well, how are you? And we know each other quite well, and I think you can't take that for granted. In Oxford, you just get used to it. Oh yeah, these are my course mates, it's how the years work. It cannot be the same in other places, and that's so brilliant. When I go down to the kitchen staff, to have my food, and I forget my card, it's crazy, these guys know my name. I really don't know why. Maybe it's because I have a YouTube channel, so they particularly know me. But either way, they just know it, and there must be loads of people going through all the time. I can see these people maybe, I go for, let's say, 4 meals a week, maximum, lunch and dinner. And you just normally scan your card and they say afterwards, boop, thank you, Sam. But when I don't have it, they've clearly memorised that. It just makes you feel like, you're at home. Same with the scouts, who are kind of, I guess, the cleaners, who come and empty your bins and, clean your floors really kindly. First of all, that's really cool, and we're all very thankful for that anyway. But these guys, know who you are, and they have a chat with you, because I guess they do a staircase, and, there are a few. And people say that the scout often checks up on you if they come at, 11 o'clock, and you're still not out of bed a few days in a row, because they kind of know your habits, and if you're normally in your room, outside your room at that point, they can kind of check up on you like that as well. Even the president, we have this thing called the president of the college. Every college has something similar, like the person in charge, she lives on site. We had meetings with the president at the start of the year. And okay, fine, she probably doesn't remember us, because she's probably busy running the college or whatever she does. But it's really cool that at least, even if she doesn't remember us, we definitely feel like we've been kind of introduced to the college. That was the bit where we had to sign the book, which is a signed book of every single person who's ever been at the college for however long. You write who you are, what subject, where you come from, your parents' names, jobs, whatever it is. But, on top of that, you have a maybe 5, 10, 15 minute chat with the president themselves, and they ask you a few questions, so it just makes you feel like, you're part of the community. Yeah, but there we go. I've really got a smile on my face now, because I really do appreciate these things, and we've had plenty of negative or, leaning towards negative videos. It's also really important to recognise the positives, and Oxford, this is an amazing positive. I'm sure it's the same as Cambridge as well, but you feel that if you go here, as much as possible, okay, fine, it's not really like a school, but they do care. So, that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to see another video of mine sitting on my bed talking about something quite brutally honestly, click here. That'll be my loneliness video. And if you want to see something a bit lighter, a bit more enjoyable, click here, and that'll be my party video where we went to a college bop, which is a big organised party. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.